All right, let's dive right into this explainer. If you've ever stared at a mathematical equation and thought, okay, but how does this actually connect to the real world? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking a fundamental chapter on relations and functions. We're going to translate the abstract world of math into a really structured journey, going from basic everyday pairings all the way up to complex mathematical rules. Now, what's really interesting about this opening quote is how it sets the stakes right off the bat. Marcellin Berthelot, the famous chemist, noted that mathematics is the indispensable instrument of all physical research. So we aren't just pushing numbers around on a page here. We're exploring the actual instruments used to decode our physical reality. Keep that in mind as we build our understanding today, all right? These concepts are literal tools. To make this chapter super easy to digest, we're using a funnel approach across 5 steps. We've got 1. Finding mathematical patterns. 2. Cartesian products of sets. 3. Defining mathematical relations. 4. Functions, a special relation. And finally, 5. The algebra of real functions. Let's get into it. Step 1. Finding mathematical patterns. At its core, so much of math is simply about finding a recognizable link between quantities that change. I mean, we do this intuitively every single day, right? Recognizing relationships like brother and sister or teacher and student. Let's anchor this in a real-world scenario. Imagine you've got a set of 2 colors, let's say red and blue, and a set of 3 objects, a bag, a coat, and a shirt. If you want to figure out how many pairs of colored objects you can make, you just intuitively pair them up. Red bag, red coat, red shirt. Then blue bag, blue coat, blue shirt. You instantly recognize that 2 colors times 3 items gives you exactly 6 distinct pairs. That is pattern recognition at its absolute most basic. Moving right along to step 2, Cartesian products of sets. Let's give that idea a formal mathematical name. Given 2 non-empty sets, we'll call them P and Q, the Cartesian product, which we write as P times Q, is simply the set of all ordered pairs of elements from P and Q. It's just a comprehensive collection where your first element always comes from your first set P, and your second element always comes from your second set Q. And this brilliantly illustrates why order matters tremendously in these pairs. Think about vehicle license plates. You have a state code followed by a district code, DL for Delhi and 01 for a specific district. The ordered pair DL, 01 represents a specific valid location code. But if you flip it to 01, DL, it loses its original meaning entirely. You might end up ticketing the wrong car. 2 ordered pairs are only equal if the corresponding first elements are equal and the second elements are equal. Order is literally everything here. So moving further down our funnel, let's look at what happens when we don't want every possible pairing, like in a Cartesian product, but only the pairings that share a specific, meaningful relationship. Step 3. Defining mathematical relations. Let's do some rapid-fire anatomy of a mathematical relation, starting with the domain. When you have a subset of pairs connected by a specific rule, like is the square of or is greater than, the domain is simply the set of all your starting inputs. It's the complete list of all the first elements in your ordered pairs. Next up, we have the range. If the domain is your starting point, the range represents all the resulting outputs. It's the set of all the second elements in a relation that actually get linked to a first element. These are the destinations that are truly reached. And finally, we have the codomain. Now, this one can sometimes be a little confusing, but the distinction is absolutely crucial. The codomain is the entire pool of possible outputs in the second set. Because not every single possible output might actually be mapped to an input, the range is always just a subset of this larger codomain. Basically, the codomain is what's possible, while the range is what actually happens. So we've seen how elements connect in general relations. And we've defined our domain, range, and codomain. But now we really need to ask a vital question. What happens when these connections are forced to follow a completely uncompromising, strict rule where ambiguity is just entirely eliminated? That question brings us to the very tip of our conceptual funnel. Step 4. Functions, a special relation. When we compare the two side by side, the difference is pretty stark. With a general mathematical relation, a single first element might link to multiple second elements. Think of a relation like is a sibling of. One person could map to 3 different brothers and sisters. But a mathematical function, it is way more disciplined. A function strictly dictates that each input goes to one, and only one, destination. There's absolutely zero ambiguity.
Simply put, a relation from set A to set B is a function if every element of set A has one and only one image in set B. In other words, if you look at the set of ordered pairs making up the function, no two distinct ordered pairs can ever have the same first element. If you plug a number into a function, you must get exactly one definitive answer back every single time, no exceptions.
Let's look at a really concrete illustration using example 12 from the text. Here, we're mapping natural numbers using a specific rule. F of x equals 2x plus 1. Look at how perfectly this demonstrates that one-to-one input-output relationship. Plug in a 1, output is 3. Input 2, output is 5. For 7, it's 15. Every single input in the domain creates exactly one unique, predictable image in the range. This absolute mechanical predictability, that's exactly what makes functions so incredibly powerful. Which brings us to step 5, algebra of real functions. Now that we have a solid grasp on what a real function actually is, let's explore how we can manipulate them. Think of these functions kind of like building blocks. Just like basic numbers, the text outlines that we can perform mathematical operations on these functions to create entirely new rules. If we have two real functions, we can add them together to make a new one. We can subtract them. We can multiply a function by a scalar, which is just a real number, or even multiply two entirely different functions together. And finally, we can divide one real function by another, provided, of course, that the denominator isn't 0. These operations are what allow us to build incredibly complex mathematical models out of really simple foundational functions.
As we prepare to wrap up, it's fascinating to pause and remember that these aren't just abstract rules handed down from the sky, right? They are practical tools invented by real, brilliant people who are trying to solve tangible problems. Take G.W. Leibniz, for example, a pioneering mathematician and philosopher.
Leibniz is incredibly important to our journey today because he actually coined the word function. According to the historical note in the text, the word first appeared in a 1673 Latin manuscript that he wrote. At the time, Leibniz used the word to describe physical measurements, like finding the tangents of curves. It's truly marvelous to think about. These abstract concepts you learn about today, domains, ranges, Cartesian products, they were fundamentally born out of a profound practical need in 1673 to map, measure, and solve real-world physical problems.
Which leaves us with a final, fascinating thought to ponder today. We started with the idea that mathematics is the indispensable instrument of all physical research. From the trajectory of a thrown ball, to the temperature variations in your city, to the very algorithms delivering this explainer to you right now. It is all governed by strict inputs yielding specific outputs. So look around you. What invisible functions are mapping the physical world around you right now? Keep asking questions, keep looking for those patterns, and we will see you in the next explainer.